Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you by Pro Recovery Power. Before I get started, I would just like to continue to say thank you to everybody that has been praying for me and my family due, to the loss of my mom. She passed away a couple weeks ago. And, all the love, support, messages, cards, flowers, texts, calls, everything. It means a lot to us in this time. My mom wanted me to continue to carry this message to other people that's still sick and suffering because that's the kind of person she was. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. A few announcements before we get started. This week is the last week I'm going live on Saturday and Sunday. So starting next week in the month of April, I will be going live only on Saturdays, but with two different people now. It's going to be at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that. I'm also filling up my calendar for the month of April as well. So if you have a story to tell, reach out to me and then we can make that happen. Also, Pro Recovery Power, we have a meeting that we started. It's every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is basically a 12-step meeting. It is a non-denominational meeting, which means all fellowships and support groups are welcome. Now, I'm going to clarify what I mean by support groups because other people didn't really understand what I was talking about. So there's other people that have been affected by the sufferer, by the addict, by the alcoholic, and they go to their own little support groups. So people who struggle themselves with drugs and alcohol are welcome. People who have been affected by anybody that has struggled with drugs and alcohol. It could be a husband, a wife, a mom, a dad, a brother, a sibling, a really good friend, anybody. Also the website. Our website is a brand new website. You can check it out, prorecoverypower.com, and see what we're all about. It's more than just going live in YouTube and recovery clothing. It's a lot more than that. And also, Pro Recovery Power, we have our own counseling. Now that I'm doing, it's Pro Recovery Power counseling that I'm doing. I'm a certified substance abuse counselor. I have a degree in substance use disorder counseling, and I just love to carry this message any way that I can. I believe this is the direction God wanted me to go, so that's what I did. I am also a 12-stepper. I got sober in the 12-step program, and somebody said that your calling or your career is what you're paid for, and your calling is what you're made for. It just so happened mine is both intertwined, one and the same. So I'm really excited about that. I'm very purpose driven. But if you know somebody that needs help, you might need help. It's the first call is free. It's a free consultation. If you guys want to reach out, you guys can call or text 760-513-6082, and we can help you guys. So, okay. As you guys can see, I'm not in my PRP gear today. What I'm wearing now is Serenity clothing, or Serenity Tees collection, Serenity's collection, basically. Because Martin he owns this company, this brand right here that I'm wearing, and he is my guest today. He's going to be sharing his experience, strength, and hope. He can be sharing. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm not going to tell too much about his story, but it's one that you don't want to miss. So I just wanted to show him some love. I love this shirt right here because it says, we grow through what we go through. Growth is an ongoing process. It don't matter what happens in life. We grow through what we go through. So I'm really excited to hear his story. I've heard it before. But let's see. Is he on here? All right, let me get him on real quick. There he is. Get this party started. Oh, there he is.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, bro? Man, whatever camera you're using is really good, man. I can see you really clear. It's like you're here.
I got a setup at home.
All right. No, that's cool.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm hanging in there. Every day overall, it's getting better. I have sometimes throughout the day, I can just be overwhelmed with sadness. Sometimes it's anger. I experienced that today with my wife this morning, and it's amazing because I have more of an opportunity to really put my money where my mouth is. You know, I'm talking all about this stuff all the time on social media, in person with people about, you know, our attitudes and staying sober. Da, da, da. Now, I mean, I really get to, you know, see where I'm really at with my recovery. You know, see where I'm at, and you know, because I learned that this disease that, you know, I suffer from, it stems from selfishness and self-centeredness. And in this time where, you know, I'm grieving the loss of my mom, I mean, it's such a huge challenge for me to really practice these principles in all my affairs. Really not make it about me, even though I did lose my mom. But you know, kind of just wallowing in self pity and, you know, like just being real short with my wife or with my brother or my sister or something like that. You know, it's I'm excited about it, but I'm also like, okay, let's go, you know, you know, kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know. But I appreciate you, man, you know, coming on here. I've heard your story a few times already, and you know, I think now it's time for the world to hear it. You know, it's just truly amazing. That's why it truly is, man. And I'm so glad that, you know, God opened so much doors that I could meet like you and other people. I can't even remember how I met you. Actually, not thinking about it, but you know, I don't know. Do you remember?
I think it was through Nick and Team 12.
It was through Nick. Okay, maybe. Yeah, probably. I
Yeah.
didn't even remember how I met Nick. I was like, did I forget, man? You know. But yeah, I really appreciate you. You know, taking the time um, to share your story with everybody, man.
Dude,
Because
I
it is.
appreciate I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's really it's you know, it's an amazing story. That's why I'm like, man. But first time I heard you, I was like, oh, I gotta get this guy to go live with me. Yeah, you know, because it inspires hope, man, and that's the whole purpose. Why I started doing this is to inspire hope in other people who are struggling with an addiction. To me, I don't care. I mean, I care. I shouldn't say that. I say that all the time. I shouldn't say that. What I mean to say is that to me, it doesn't matter how somebody got sober or how they got clean. I don't care, like whether it was a 12-step program or you went to therapy or whatever. You did it on your own, or now it's kind of hard to believe though. But you know, you know, whatever the case may be, if you once struggled and you no longer do, like, hey, I would like to hear about it. There's other people out there that's sick and suffering that need some inspiration. They need some hope. You know, they need to see that light at the end of the tunnel. I was told, look, when you're in that dark tunnel, you cannot see the end. You cannot see the light at the end. Look for somebody with a flashlight. You know, and
Exactly.
like people like me and you, that's us, bro. You know, we're in the tunnel with these people. You know, we're in the trenches. You know,
Yeah.
we're not on the sidelines. Just okay, yeah, okay. You know, nah, I'm in there, man. You know, but before we get started, Martin, and you know, you share your story, I want to ask you some questions, real basic ones. So, the first one is, how long have you been sober and
Okay.
clean and sober? Well, clean. You gotta say clean, huh?
No, I got clean May 10th, 2018.
Oh,
So I
nice,
got
bro.
today, with the grace of my higher power, I have 1,053 days.
All right, bro. That's a big deal,
Yeah.
man. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
congratulations. And where are you from?
Well, I live in Las Vegas. I've been here 25 plus years, but originally I'm from Southern California, Long Beach area.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
All
so an
right.
old
Okay.
stomping ground. You guys are familiar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, and then last question is, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
Well, I wouldn't say was a choice because I really didn't have a choice in the matter, but I
Right.
was addicted to prescription pills for the most part.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, bro. Well, at this time, I'll give you this floor to tell your story, bro.
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm,
Again,
mhm,
Alika, thank you for having me, man. It's an honor.
mhm,
So yeah, let me start from the beginning. So I grew up in a super religious military family. My dad was in the Navy, and it was strict. I mean, he ran his house like he was in the military, right?
mhm,
Um, Grew up pretty much knowing that drugs were bad. You know, it was pushed on us, but alcohol and cigarettes were for adults only.
mhm,
But like most adolescent teens, you know, we played with it. You know, I succumbed to peer pressure from my friends. You know, we tapped
mhm,
into our parents' bar and
mhm,
alcohol cabinet or
mhm,
whatever, tried some beer and wine and whatnot. But it wasn't until I moved to Vegas that I was actually introduced to anything hard.
Uh-huh.
I was living here for a while, about 5 years now. My brother came down. He was visiting, and we were partying, like any Vegas people would do. We'd go to clubs and tear it up. The group that we were in was like, hey, let's turn this up a notch. You guys, want to do some E? And I immediately said no. And my brother was looking at me, kind of, wanting to say something, and then he pulls me aside and he's like, hey, you know what? I've done E before. It's not that bad. I'll even split one with you. And he begins to explain to me like what the feelings were or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So he talked me into it. So I took my first drug at the age of 28. Was my first like hardcore drug. And something happened that night. It literally flipped a switch in my brain. And for the next 4 months, I was on a tear. I was on a tear, just doing drugs almost every day. I got to dealing. It led me to getting arrested. I had a couple of overdoses. Yeah, it was a crazy 4 months. But yeah, so I ended up going to jail. I was looking at 10 years because I had 100 pills on me that I was going to give to a bartender friend of mine. And yeah, 10 years. But luckily for me, the judge was the godfather of my girlfriend at the time's cousin. So I got off. I got off with 2 years probation. I did 13 days in jail, so I did time served, and a year of drug counseling. After I did the full year of drug counseling, my probation was dropped to time served, which was a year, and I had a misdemeanor, which was dropped to a gross misdemeanor. And what did I do after that happened, dude? I celebrated. I partied with my friends. I was gone for a few days and just got loaded, wasted off my mind. I don't even know how long. I think it was about 3 days. It was like a weekend bender or whatever. So this is early 2000. I continued to party for like the next few years. My girlfriend at the time, we ended up having a kid in 2004. And 2004, still partying. And right around 2005, I got into a really bad car accident. And that's how I was introduced to prescription pills. I screwed up my back really bad, my neck, and my doctor prescribed me Lortabs. So I started taking Lortabs, and I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of cool." I was doing Lortabs for about a couple of months when I started to notice how my sleep pattern was starting to change. I was having a hard time falling asleep. And so I spoke to my doctor about it, and my doctor was like, well, I can give you some Ambien. And so he prescribes me Ambien. And so I started taking Ambien, and I was on Ambien for a couple of months. And then I started to notice some more changes in the mornings when I was waking up, getting ready for work and whatever, or getting the kid, not getting the kids ready, but, just helping with the baby get ready and stuff. I was feeling like, groggy. I couldn't focus. I was still kind of sleepy. That went on for a couple of months until I spoke to my doctor about it again. And that's when he prescribed me Adderall. I hadn't taken Adderall before, although when I was younger, I was diagnosed with ADD. So it was brought to my attention before, but I never wanted to take it. But my doctor suggested it, so I took it. So this is like probably 5 months in now after my accident. I was taking Lortab, Ambien, and then Adderall. And then probably like a couple months of that now, just taking them as prescribed. I wasn't abusing them by any means. I had my first panic attack, and I thought I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe. My chest was just like beating out of my heart was just like beating out of my chest, and it was just like I thought I was gonna die. I was at work at the time. boss called the paramedics. Paramedics came, and sure enough, I was having a panic attack. After they got me to calm down and stuff, with oxygen and whatnot, they said that I should talk to my doctor about it. And so I did. So the very next day, I contacted my doctor, went in, did some testing, and he just was like, "Well, this will help with the panic attacks." He prescribes me Xanax. So 6 months after the accident, now I'm on like a cocktail of prescription pills,
Yes.
and this is in 2004, 2005, and for the next I would say 5, 6, 7 years, that's what I was on. I was just taking them regularly every single day. From the start of the morning to the end of the night, I was popping pills. Weekends, I was still partying with friends and whatnot. And it just kind of went on like that for years, just kind of autopilot, taking my pills normally. It wasn't until 2013 when I found out that my wife at the time, now my longtime girlfriend turned wife, I found out that she was having an affair. And I didn't think I was trying to kill myself, but like I just woke up one morning in the emergency room, and the doctor was talking to me and was just asking me if I was trying to harm myself, and I was like, no, I wasn't. And he tells me that I had an excessive amount of Ambien in my system. And so they held me for 72 hours. And after that, I again wasn't thinking that I was doing it on purpose, but maybe my subconscious was, or whatever. But after I got out of the hospital, I talked to my wife at the time. There's a problem here. Maybe we should, look into some counseling or whatever. So her and I went to marriage counseling, and we went a couple of times and kind of were just talking about the problems in the marriage or whatever. And she brought up that I was, not present, and that was like, a problem for her because I wasn't participating in like the growth of our kid and our kids, because by this time we had 2 boys now, and I just wasn't present in anything, whether it was taking the kids to soccer or taking the kids to karate, even with like homework and school and stuff. I just wasn't participating. I was home, I was present, but I wasn't present. And we kind of worked it out. We kind of worked through the affair that she was having and the issues that I was having. But even though I didn't party as much at that point, I was still taking my prescription medication. But then, things were going kind of, I wouldn't say smooth, but it was normal, right, for the next couple of years. And then in 2016, 3 years later, I found out she was having an affair again. And I think that's when things got really, really bad. That whole saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, on me. And that's how I totally felt. Like, dude, this is my fault now. I'm thinking it's my fault that she cheated on me again. And that was it. We were done. We got separated. She moved out of the house. We had like some co-parenting thing that we were trying to do with the kids. She would have the boys most of the week, and then I would get them on the weekends or whatever, and then we tried it vice versa, where I would have them during the week and she would get them on the weekends. And but that was when I decided, like, fuck you, like, I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna go do me now. It was an ongoing joke between me and my friends that I was going out with, man. Like, fuck love. It's gonna be hookers and blow, moving on. And that's how I try to live my life moving forward from that point. I was going out all the time. That's when I started abusing my medication. I was taking more than I was supposed to. I was crushing Adderall at work and snorting Adderall. And then, by that time, weed was legal. Weed was legal here in Vegas. So I started smoking weed, and I even started drinking more on top of that. And my life was just crazy at that point. It was just crazy. It started to affect pretty much everything. Like work was starting to, notice how like I wasn't like being part of the team. So I'm a graphic artist by trade, so I work with a lot of creative people, and they were just like, letting me know, like, dude, you're not participating in these powwows when we have our group meetings or whatever. And yeah, it just started to go super bad. I continued that for like about a year and a half, and then I came home one day, and my ex-wife was there with the boys, and she was like just grilling me because I guess I was gone for a while, and she couldn't get a hold of me, and she just started asking like, where you been? I'm worried about you, like the kids haven't seen you in a while, what have you been doing, and are you on drugs? And I was just like, I did not want to be there. I wanted to, like, we were having this conversation in the master bedroom, and I just didn't want to be there. I was trying to leave, and then so she was like blocking the door. She wouldn't, let me out because she wanted answers, and I just didn't want to be there. It got so bad that I like moved her out of the door, and then she hopped on my back, and she was like trying to choke me out, and I ended up pushing her off me, and she landed on the bed, and then that's when she started screaming. Right, she was like, "Oh my, you're a wife beater! You're a wife beater!" And I was like, I'm calling. She's like, I'm calling 911. I'm calling 911 because you're a wife beater. And I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm out of here. And when I opened the door, my two boys were standing outside our door, and the looks on their face was just like, oh my God, it just took the life out of me. The looks on their face, they were in tears, crying, just like didn't know what to say. And I was just like standing there like, what the fuck? And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't say anything. I just left. I got on my motorcycle and I just started driving. And I don't even know where I was going. I was just driving. I was on the freeway, and I was just driving. And that's when the thoughts of like killing myself like came into play. Here I am. I'm feeling like a failure as a father, as a husband. Everything in my life was falling apart. I was just like, I'm done. I just want this to be over with. I just want this to be. I just don't want to be a part of it anymore. After like about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of driving, I came back home. My wife wasn't home. The kids weren't home. I just grabbed my backpack and I loaded it all up with all the stuff that I had at the house, all my prescription pills, some of her prescription pills, and just threw them all in my backpack. And I checked into a casino hotel that was just down the street from my house. I went there, I checked in, I went to the gift shop, got a bottle of whiskey, and I guess I was still kind of contemplating if this was the right thing to do or not, because what I ended up doing was actually playing blackjack for a little bit. And when the cocktail waitress came by, I just told her to just keep bringing me drinks, and I was drinking and playing. And then I think after a few drinks, I went upstairs. I emptied everything that was in my bag on the bed, and I just started opening bottles, pouring it into my hand, and then just downing it all with the whiskey that I bought. After I've taken everything, I just laid there. Had the TV on. I just laid there in bed, and must have just passed out. And I remember waking up the very next morning, 6:04 a.m. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I was expecting to be dead. I thought, I didn't think I was going to wake up the next morning. And I was just like, what the fuck? I woke up and I was just like, shit, that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And my first instinct was to like, I was gonna call up some friends, but then like I didn't want them to know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on Craigslist and I just started looking to see what I can find on Craigslist, and I found this guy, and we met up at another casino, and he sold me a ball of crystal. Mind you, I've never done crystal before.
Mm-hmm.
I took a ball of crystal, half a ball of coke, and he had a couple of pills on him that I totally bought. We did like the shady drug deal in the food court at one of the hotels, and I drove back to the hotel room that I was staying at, and again, same thing. I just laid it all out on the table, sat there, and just started opening, dumped it in my hand, just took it all,
Mm-hmm.
and again, I just laid there in bed, just waiting, and I must have just passed out. And this time I woke up, the following morning, a little bit later, it was after 11. I was covered in blood, just
Mm-hmm.
dried blood on the side of my mouth, dried blood all over my shirts. There was blood on the sheets. And here I'm thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, I should have been dead. Like, I should have been dead the night before. I should have been dead now. And I honestly don't know what happened after that, because I woke up the next morning in the bathroom. I must have just started drinking, and I drank a lot to where I just blacked out and don't remember what I was doing. But when I woke up the next morning, I was in the bathroom of my hotel room. There was a pocket knife in my right hand, and I had a half-inch gash on my left wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was sitting up, I noticed the bathtub was full, had all these bottles of booze all over the place. And I stood up, saw myself in the mirror, and the first thing I said was, "What the fuck am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck am I doing to my boys?" And I, I the first thing that came to my mind was, I need to go. I need to get home. I need to get home. I just packed up my stuff and I drove home. I called my wife and I told her, "Hey, I'm coming home, or I'm home now. I want to see the boys." And she came to the house by herself, and again just started grilling me, like, "Well, what are you doing? Where have you been? I haven't seen you. Everyone's worried about you. There's a missing persons report on you. Um, you're fucked up. You're an asshole for doing this. Blah 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 blah." And mind you, I'm like hung the fuck over. Like, I just
Yeah.
want her to shut the fuck up. I want to sleep, right? I'm like laying in bed. I had the covers on me, and she's just like sitting there trying to get answers, and I didn't have any answers for her. I just wanted to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Um, she calls her sister, who I work with at the company that I was working at. She calls her sister. Her sister comes over. Her and her sister step out of the room, and her sister's trying to calm her down or whatever. And her sister comes and talks to me now, and she says, she tells me, "Hey, there's a EAP program with work. Why don't you give them a call and see maybe if they can help you?" EAP is employee assisted program, for those that don't know. So that's what I did. I called the number. I spoke to somebody. I told them what was going on, what I had just been through, and they gave me three numbers to the treatment centers.
Mm-hmm.
And I called immediately. This is actually funny. The first one that I called was an answering machine. So I was like, I didn't leave a message, because like, what message do you leave? I'm trying to kill myself. Can you call me back? So I didn't leave a message. I called the next one. It just kept ringing. And then by the time I got to the third number, that's when everything was great. I can still, to this day, I can still remember Wendy. Her name was Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
I can still remember her voice. She just started talking to me, asking me like, what's going on, how am I feeling right now, and she basically said, come now, check yourself in now. We got you. Um, and, I was still kind of going through it with like not seeing my boys for a while. So I told her, I haven't seen my boys in a few days. My wife's going to bring them over. I want to hang out with them, and then I'll check myself in tomorrow. And that's what I did. My wife brought the kids over. We had dinner. She left. I made dinner for the three of us. We watched a movie and kind of just hung out and went to bed. And the very next morning, woke up. My wife came back. She helped me pack a bag, and she took me to Solutions Treatment Center here in Las Vegas. Yeah, checked in. And while I was doing the intake, I remember the questions were like, so why are you here? I'm like, oh, because I have mental issues. I'm trying to kill myself. And so he was asking me, what were you doing? How were you trying to kill yourself? So I kind of just went through each night of what I did. And he was like, yeah, no, dude, you have problems with drugs. And, I was like a little hesitant. Like I didn't see myself as a drug addict. I figured I have mental issues. Actually, mental issues run in my family.
Yeah.
And so I was a little hesitant at first. He even told me like, when you check in here, you're not going to be able to bring that stuff with you. And I've been through withdrawals before. I was like, bro, I don't know if I can do that, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of hesitant to check in, but then I just kind of reminded myself where I was 2 days ago.
Right.
Waking up in the bathroom, and I was just like, dude, I need to make a change. I need to make a change. And so I said, okay, let's do this. So I checked in. I did a 5-day detox at Solutions. And then from that 5 days, I did a 15-day inpatient, and then I did a 45-day outpatient. And within those 60 days, I was taught a lot. I did, in fact, have a mental issue, because addiction is a mental issue.
Right.
But I learned so much about why, the drugs weren't what I was addicted to. I was addicted to escaping reality.
Right.
And I didn't realize I had all this trauma from childhood. And I learned all that through the therapy sessions, and we went to meetings. We had to go to meetings every single night when we were there. Whether it was NA, AA, CA, CMA, I mean, you name it, all of them. We had to go. And I would say in the first 5 days that I was there, when I was going through detox, I was in a house full of other addicts that were coming down, that were detoxing. And they were all asking me what I'm in for, and I just kept saying, hey, I'm here because I have mental issues. And everyone's all telling me, oh, I'm addicted to heroin, oh, I'm an alcoholic, or this, that, or the other. And I was still hesitant to admit that I had a drug problem. I was just like, yeah, no, dude, I'm just fucked up in the head. That's why I'm here. But the more I told the story of how I got there, and the more I heard their stories of how they got there, it started to click, Like I had to stop being the dick in my addiction. and that's how I kind of figured out that all these other people were I'm more like them than I actually was willing to admit. So I did a 60-day program. I met my temporary sponsor in there. When I got my my graduation diploma, I was ready to go out into the real world, right? So I asked my temporary sponsor at the time. I was like, "Yo, dude, I'm going out into the real world. What do you suggest?" He's like, "Go to a meeting. First thing you need to do is go to a meeting." I was like, "Oh, okay." I took his number down. He had given me my first NA book, which I still have to this day. I I left. I left the treatment center and I went home, kind of just like moseyed around the house, trying to figure out like which meeting I was going to go to. I found what meeting I was going to go to. But before that, I went to, I guess you can say she was kind of a girlfriend, but I went to go hang out with her for a little bit. And then I just, we were just hanging out and, she had a bunch of friends over and we were just hanging out. And then like, I was like, no, I'm not. The meeting was at 9 o'clock. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to go to the meeting. Maybe I'll just go to the next meeting.
Uh-huh.
But something happened to where I was like, dude, I can't be in here because my girlfriend at the time, she smokes weed and she was drinking, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can be in here. So I left. I immediately went to the meeting shortly after I left her house, and that was actually when I met my fiance, Crystal. I was sitting in this meeting, right? And I was like, I don't want to be there. I sat in the back, all, kept to myself, when they ask you, like, is there any newcomers or whatever, so I acknowledged that I was a newcomer. And when I said that, Crystal was sitting up front, and she like turns around and was like waving at me and stuff. And I was like, oh, who's this crazy bitch like waving? I didn't recognize her. I haven't seen her for years, right? We used to party back in the days, and I haven't seen her in like years. And here's this girl like waving at me. So after the meeting, she came to me and was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? What are you doing here? And, we just got to talking. And she introduces me to a bunch of guys that were there that she knew. And, I got their numbers, and to this day, I still have those phone numbers. And to this day, those guys are still in my, my support group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started going to meetings, and, not to sound like, codependent or whatever, like, I would see her in other meetings or whatever, but like, I went to other meetings that she wasn't there. But it made me more comfortable for some reason, knowing that I knew somebody that went to meetings. So it made it that much more comfortable for me, and it was like easier for me to like talk to people after the meeting or whatever, and kind of get numbers and like stuff like that. I continued to talk to my temporary sponsor at the time on a daily basis. He would have me read chapters out of the book, and then 5 days after I got out of treatment, and I remember this vividly, day 65. I was driving home from a meeting with two other clients from the treatment center that I was at.
Mm-hmm.
We were driving home from a meeting. I get a phone call from my younger son. We're just chatting. They were on summer vacation in Florida, and they were there. They were there with their family. And mind you, this is a summer vacation that we do every single year since the kids were born.
Mm-hmm.
And that year, I chose not to go because I wanted to focus on me and my recovery. Mm-hmm. And so we were just chatting it up, and he was telling me, stuff that they were doing, and then it just like spoke to me out loud. He's like, yeah, mom brought her boyfriend, and I was just like, wait, what? Mom brought her boyfriend, and mind you, this is the guy that she was having an affair with. And it just like lit this fire in my head. I was just like all over the place with thoughts, and I was angry. The two people that were in the car with me, dude, what's wrong? And they were like, telling me, do you need to go to a meeting? You need to go to a meeting. Mm-hmm. And I dropped them off, and I don't even know what happened next, but like that whole autopilot thing, it just blows me away, because like I'm driving, and next thing I know, I'm in my mother-in-law's driveway. I don't know how I got there, but I was there. And I was just like sitting there like thinking, why am I here? And then I realized like, oh shit, I'm here because I want to get loaded. Mm-hmm. My mother-in-law's boyfriend pops pills, and I had it already figured out. I'm going to go in, say hi, what's going on? Got to use the bathroom, take some pills out of the medicine cabinet. Mm-hmm. But I sat there for a minute and thought about that. And they teach you, in treatments as well as in the program, play the tape through,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I didn't have to play the tape through. All I had to do was rewind back to my last day of using it.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, I don't want to be there again.
Mhm.
Um, so it was like 8:30 ish in the evening when that happened, and there was a 9 o'clock meeting 2 blocks from my mother-in-law's house.
Mhm.
I said I'm going to a meeting. I told myself I'm going to a meeting. I went to the meeting, and I shared for the very first time in my recovery life because you know, I've been to meetings before, but I never really shared. But this was the first time I shared, and I don't even know what I shared. But after the meeting, you know, guys came up to me, were just like, dude, you know, you'll get through this. You know, here's my number. You know, if you ever go, you know, if you ever feel like whatever, you know, give me a call. And that's when that's when it clicked in my head, the importance of meetings and opening your mouth and like speaking what's on your mind. You know, there's
Mhm.
one thing to like hear your addict voice talking in your head,
Yeah.
right? And then to hear it out loud spoken, dude, there's something powerful in that, man. Because like
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, when you hear your thoughts out loud, dude, that's a stupid idea. Stupid idea.
Mhm.
And that's when it clicked for me. Um, I must have gone to like 100 plus maybe 200 plus meetings. I was going to like 3 4 meetings a day for the next, I think, 3 months,
Mhm.
and that's when it clicked. Um, you know, I always say that you know the you know going into rehab saved my life, which it did. But dude, the program of Narcotics Anonymous, I say it all the time, saves my life every single day.
Mhm.
Um, you know, these last couple of years, especially this past year, it was crazy, right, with the pandemic and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But during that pandemic, dude, I uh, I went through a divorce. I
Mhm.
went through a custody battle. I went through the death of my mom,
Mhm.
um, a bankruptcy. Dude, I did that all clean. You know, I tackled
Mhm.
that shit all clean,
Mhm.
and I couldn't have done that if it wasn't for what I learned and continue to learn from you know from Narcotics Anonymous and with the love of my you know my fiance, my family that I have now.
Mhm.
Wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for all of that. You know, we live in a recovery house. You know, everyone in this house is all about recovery. My fiance has, you know, a year more than I do. Her aunt has 38, 39, almost 39 years,
Whoa.
dude. And I didn't go to meetings all the time during the pandemic, but we had meetings all the time. They say it only takes 2 people to have a meeting.
Right.
Me and my fiance talk about stuff all the time. I mean, communication is key in our relationship. And if there's
Absolutely.
something going on, do we talk about it? We chop that shit up.
Mhm.
And you know, if there's something bugging me, she knows already. She'll get it out of me, or vice versa. And if there's something between us that needs to be you know talked about, her aunt will step in and like you know drop some nuggets as far as recovery goes. Man, she's
Yeah.
39 years. Um, so yeah, man, recovery's been great. You know, I mean, they tell you there's a lot of gifts in recovery, and I have a lot of those. You know, I have a great life now. I have a couple of businesses that are doing really well. I have 2 healthy boys from my previous marriage that are I have great relationships with, and new baby. We're getting married. Um,
Uh-huh.
dude, life is amazing, man. Life is beautiful, man. I owe all of that to, to recovery.
Mhm. Yeah. Hey, bro, thank you so much, man. Like, I'm so happy I got to hear your story in its entirety, you know, from beginning to end and know, you know, every single detail and everything. Because I've heard it a bunch of times, but I know we spoke about this, you know, being able to, I can hear the whole thing, you know, and it's incredible, man. It's incredible, man. I'm so, so happy for you, bro. Like, congratulations, you know.
Thank you.
That's a big thing, man. The wedding, you guys getting married next year, right? Next
Yeah,
year.
11
Yeah.
11 22.
Yeah, 11/11. That's right. My brother's birthday. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You know, that's a big deal. Where's she at? Is she there?
Yeah, she's here.
Let me say hi to her. If
Come
you
see.
are.
She's all fixing her hair.
Oh man.
Oh, I know.
Hi.
Hey.
I know got me crying too. I'm like,
Oh,
oh
sorry.
man.
Oh man. Hey, congratulations.
Thank
Hey,
you.
it's
Thank you
good.
very
Nice
much.
to meet you. I heard about you, but I never seen you yet.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much.
Oh,
Hey,
no, I'm
but
all
yeah,
happy
bro. Hey,
for you.
I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you.
You know, there's so many, like everything. I could honestly relate to you. See, pills wasn't my thing, but I could relate to you in regards to the feelings you felt, the thoughts that you had, the things that you did, like, like not just in under the influence, but in a sober state of mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The most insane thing I have ever done in my entire life. I mean, this one will be hard to top. I can't see me doing anything more insane than what I'm about to say. But the most insane thing I've ever done in my entire life is that in a sober state of mind, I make the decision to drink and use, knowing what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know, that's the most insane thing I've ever done, man. But like, you know, you said so many good things, man. I was so engaged into what you were saying. But, you know, toward the end there, you started talking about, you know, speaking it, like how you communicate with you and your girl, your fiance. You know, me and my wife are big believers in that as well. You know, speaking it, like I believe, you know, words have creative power. I believe, you know, we can use our words to build up, to tear down. You know, but that, you know, proper communication between like spouses, or in anybody in general, you know, is so important. And I found out in recovery that because something I learned previously being in recovery was, you know, if like don't, you know, if you talk about the negative, you can get the negative, you know, kind of thing like that.
Right.
And then in recovery, I learned about how when you speak certain things, you know, it gives you the ability to take the power out of it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I'm speaking about it, trying to complain and then like attract all this negative into my life. It's you know, I think that our mouth is the valve to relieve pressure from our hearts. I believe that, you know, and being in recovery, anybody in recovery, I mean, I'm sure everybody can attest to that because people who are kind of maybe closed-minded to therapy, to speaking about how they feel and what's going on with them and being honest, brah, there is so much freedom in that, you know, and getting all that stuff out of us, you know, it's just gonna start to decay our heart, our insides, and what's on the outside's on the inside. See, we
Yeah.
cannot hide that stuff. You know, we cannot fake it. Like those things, like especially drug addicts and alcoholics, we can spot a phony a mile away. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but hey, bro, it was so amazing, man, to hear your story in its entirety. So, this time, bro, I got some questions for you, man. So,
Here we go.
so the first question is, what what are some of the biggest challenges you had to push through since you've been clean and sober?
Oh, shoot. I mean, I mentioned it in my story, man. Where do I start? The divorce.
Uh-huh.
Divorce was one. You know,
Yeah.
my ex-wife was trying to use my addiction and suicide attempts against me in court.
Right.
That was stuff that I had to, you know, prove wrong. Like my sponsor stepped up for me, wrote a letter on my behalf.
Mhm.
You know, I had people that were willing to speak on my behalf if needed. Yeah, the custody part of that too was crazy. Um, but I think the biggest one was losing my mom.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm. Yeah. Mhm.
um, she never really got to see me like this.
Mhm.
Hold on,
No, take your time, bro.
because she started to get sick right when I entered treatment,
Mhm.
and it was hard for me to, like, I think from the time I went into treatment to now, I only saw her like 3 or 4 times,
Mhm.
and she wasn't that bad at the time. But during during the pandemic, I wasn't able to go out there, and that's when she started to get really bad.
Mhm.
And one day my dad and my brother called me and said, you need to come, like, now, like, no hesitation, pandemic or not. We drove out there, and I saw my mom, and she was in bad shape. And I thought for sure I was going to relapse. And I even told her, I go, Mom, I just want you to know I'm okay. I'm doing good. I'm in a good place. It's okay. You can go. Like, I just want you to know that I'm okay. But I told her at the same time, I can't be here. I can't be here when you go.
Mhm.
She was squeezing my hand, and then we left after that.
Mhm.
And an hour after we left, she passed away.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's probably the hardest. That was the hardest for me to get through. But again, the program, my sponsor immediately told me share about that shit, and I shared about it, crying and all.
Mhm.
Dude, I shared about that shit. Felt so good.
Yeah.
But I know my mom's in a good place, and she knows I'm okay. And
Yeah. Whew, man, I can definitely relate to you. You know that. I mean, my mom's passing is super fresh in me right now, and like not using drugs, not drinking anymore. That was the easy part of my recovery, honestly. However, I mean, I will never be exempt from a relapse as long as I live. I know that about myself,
yeah,
you know. But it's the power of God working in my life, you know, to continue to carry the message, do my live shows, you know, reach out to other people. You know, I got some treatment centers want me to come to speak, but I mean, I'm trying to stay confined because we have to fly to Hawaii for my mom's service, and I have to pop negative for COVID. If I pop positive, I'm gonna miss my mom's celebration of life, and you know, I don't want to do that. But you know, God just really solidified in me that I got you because you know my mom is no longer here already, and I'm still sober. It's like it's amazing. Um, but I'm excited for this next question. So what's the best part of the life that you have today? What's the best part of it?
the best part of it, dude.
That's a hard one.
There's so much, dude. They're the best part of my life is going to bed at night and not having to pray to God that I don't wake up in the morning.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's the best part. And then I wake up in the morning next to my fiance, my baby, and then life is good.
Yeah.
But I used to pray every single night, dude. God, take me now, because I don't want this anymore.
Right. Wow, bro. Whew. I gotta hold myself together, man. Honestly, like I'm trying, man. Whew. Okay. Okay. So next question. So 3 suicide attempts. Now, why do you think God kept you alive?
Well, I said it in my share, dude. Like, the first thing that came out of my mouth when I saw myself that third morning was, why am I doing these? Why am I doing this to my boys? Or,
Right.
yeah, why am I doing this? And, dude, I can't even imagine what their lives would be like had I gone through with it, had it happened. Like, they would have been scarred, fucked up for life, I think. I think that's the biggest thing for me, anyways.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just carrying the message, like, this shit's evil, man. This shit's evil.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And,
I agree, man.
now that I'm on the other side of it, man, I just want everybody to know that
Yeah. Yeah.
recovery is possible.
Yeah.
Life, new way of life. And
Absolutely, man. I agree. I totally 100% agree with you. You know, like with Pro Recovery Power, well, being a 12 stepper, having Pro Recovery Power now, being a counselor, I always have dealt with people who already crossed the line to full blown active addiction. Those are the people. But more recently, God's been talking to me about like um like addiction prevention, like with youths, adolescents, things like, because the kids, our kids, kids are the future. It's not necessarily us, you know what I mean? But that's something I've been thinking on more. God's been putting that on my heart, so I
Yeah.
gotta continue to pray on that and see what direction He wants me to go in.
Yeah,
As
with my
far,
two older boys, I'm super open about my recovery.
yeah,
They say active addiction, affects everyone. So I make sure that my active recovery affects everyone too. And
absolutely,
and my boys are well aware of everything that I've been through and what I'm going through. And
right,
right now, unfortunately, their mom is, still in active addiction. So now they're kind of seeing two sides of the world.
yeah,
Their dad in active recovery and their mom in active addiction.
yeah.
So it's yeah, I'm open about it, and I still teach them to this day. That's addiction's bad, and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're doing, like with your kids, with your boys, sharing very open about, your recovery and like things you've done, bro, I think that is so powerful.
Yeah,
Like, in a way, I cannot wait till my son gets older so I can tell him all this stuff. Like, but what I mean by that is, see, when like we're trying to, like, especially children, when we're trying to reach our children by showing them all of my successes, all these things I accomplished, they ain't learning nothing about that. Like, how I can reach them, or not just my kids, but like people who are suffering, is share with them my dark places, the places where I'm weak, places when I messed up, and all my failures I've had. You know what I mean? I think so. I believe, man, what you're doing, that's a very good thing, bro. So yeah,
yeah.
right on. Um, okay, now the last question, Martin, is what words would you have to say to the newcomer or somebody trying to get sober right now?
Oh, dude, I think the biggest thing for me is, recovery is for people that want it, not people that need it.
Mm,
I had the overdoses, I had the suicide attempts, I had the, whatever. Did I need it? Yeah, I needed it, but it wasn't until I wanted it that it actually started to work. You know what I mean? Where you have to want it,
mhm. Bro, I absolutely agree with you. Oh, you
regardless
just
if you
got me all
need it.
excited right there with that answer. Because, like, I don't know, me personally, like, even active in my addiction, I took action. I was an action taker. Like, I wasn't like, I don't think about it to death. I don't think about this stuff to death. Like, no, bro. Like, I thought, okay, boom, I did it. 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 And I come to find out when I got into recovery, it's like, it's the same thing. All these things you learn, go apply it now. Okay, bam, bam. And I started doing that. And but I agree with you. Like, this program is not for people who need it, for people who want it. In my program, they say, this program is not for people who want it, but for people who work it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because we can learn, or I can learn, all these different things about addiction, about myself, and everything and stuff like that. But if I never apply it, I still gonna have the same way of thinking. Space got taken up in my mind, basically.
yeah.
So yeah, bro. I'm so thrilled, man. And oh man, look, it went by like that. It's like 4 o'clock already. It's so fast. I just looked at the time. I'm like, oh my
I was
goodness.
nervous for nothing.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, man, like, you'd be surprised how many people when I talk to them, they tell me that, like, how they're nervous and this and that. And I was like, don't worry, at the time when you blink your eyes, it's gonna be over. Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. Like, I mean, not just for being here and sharing your story, for everything you have done for me, bro. And in this time of still mourning the loss of my mom, and you just reaching out your hand to me, you text me all the time, and, and like, uh, it's it's just amazing and just so wonderful, the group of people that I am around. Maybe I know you're in Vegas though, but you're phone call away,
Yeah,
and because you went through that experience before me, and I'm just excited. I mean, of course, I'm not trying to rush this process of grief, but I'm excited to go help somebody else when they go through it that's in recovery or even out of recovery.
yeah,
Like, I just created a post the other day of like 10 things that I do right now to stay sober, when I'm dealing with the loss of my mom. I mean, it's so helpful for me, and I'm sure it can help somebody else as well. Because one
yeah,
thing my mom has taught me, one thing this program has taught me is taught me how to go think about other people more than you think about yourself. Go
Yeah.
do more for others than you do for yourself. Oh,
Exactly.
I mean, that's a recipe for success right there, man. You know, and but I'm truly grateful, man, and I appreciate your friendship, everything you have done for me, bro. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, and you know, it's not, I don't like getting into all that. I really gonna start crying, but you know, but I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
love you, brother, man. I love
I
you.
love you too, man. Yeah, I really do, bro. You know, I really do. You know, and I cannot believe how old you was. I was like, okay, bro, this guy, he must be Filipino. Then, you know, Filipinos, they don't age, man. They don't die. You know, they live forever, bro. You know, yeah. You know, because I'm part Filipino. My mom was Filipino, so you
Yeah.
know, I'm Hawaiian Filipino and Caucasian. But yeah, those Mungo beans, bro, the peanut vid, you know, keep us young.
Great. Right on.
Yeah, but I appreciate you, man. And I'll hit you up after this is over. I'll give you a call.
Thanks again, man.
Okay.
Talk to you
Okay,
soon.
bro. You have a good one.
All right.
Bye, Crystal.
Bye.
Hello. Okay. All right, guys. That was Martin's story. You heard it. So again, real quick, if you guys have a story to tell, I'm filling up my calendar for this coming month in April. Next week, I got a book, but every week after that, I'm available. So if you got a story to tell, please reach out. Let me know. We can make it happen. And I just really thank you guys so much for all the continued love and support. I say this all the time, and I will continue to say this all the time because I mean it. You know, what God has put in my heart, what I'm trying to do, and reach the masses of people that's still struggling, still sick and suffering. I cannot do it by myself. One is too small a number to do anything significant. And I know enough to know I can't do it by myself today. So, you know, I really appreciate you guys, you know, you guys support, especially in this time, I'm still grieving, still feel like a wounded animal, got to be nursed back to health, got to allow God to walk me through this process. So you guys' prayers, you guys' support, all the love, it means a lot to me. It means a lot. And I will never, ever, ever forget it. So I thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Have a great Sunday. We'll see you guys next week.